Congratulations.
Thank you.
Thank you for
Thank
this
you.
beautiful film. So I thought we could start by speaking about the collaboration, how you all came together to work on this, and in what ways you worked together, and how you had unique contributions to the film.
Well, first, there's a lot of contributors here. But just for simplifying, we'll have to simplify the answer. For collaboration, well, so, like animated films, it's a lot of work and it's expensive to do animation. So usually you have to have like things can't change along the down the route, like just down the road of doing of writing. But this is a film that kept changing. So usually in animation, you have a story and then you storyboard it and you make an animatic and then you never change anything and you just to the second animate. I mean, to simplify. But this story, it started with, you see how there's a film inside the film. So that's the script that we had originally. And then we started recording voices and animating that script, and we kept feeling something was missing. And we thought we don't have enough of the perspective of the parent in the story. And it wasn't going to be about me and my mom originally. And all this to say that then later, and we can talk about that as an answer to another question, but then later I had these conversations with my mom, and it changed the whole way that we conceived of the film. But this was only made possible because of the collaboration with John Michael and Jason, who were open to us changing things as we were going, because at some point, like, they understood that we have a more documentary methodology. So it was really like I think the film collaboration between documentary methodology, animation pipelines, and trying to redefine how animation can be made, taking what is useful about it, and then adding elements that we're all, as artists and not like industry professionals, we're bringing into it. I actually answered another question, but which is that I really wanted to say the process of the film, I guess. So maybe I'll just say it properly instead of trying to segue to answering your question. So we wrote a script. That's what you see inside the film. In the process, we thought we needed more information, and I started talking to my mom, and then we were listening to the conversations, and we thought this is much more true and more nuanced and better than anything that we had tried to do, and we thought we should put them in the film. And then she accepted to do that as long as we recreated them with someone else. So it's voiced by Ito Brada, who's an amazing artist, which I think she's not here, but her daughter is here, and it's probably trippy to hear your mom be my mom. And then maybe you guys can talk about the collaboration itself.
I don't know. Maybe what about the collaboration? Yeah, like we collaborated before, right, on the Two Lizards series. And so we wanted to make something bigger, and which meant that we would include more people. And Meriem said, because Meriem is the one who comes from animation, she was like, no, I can't animate a feature, so we need to find more people to work with. I was like, what? But you're the best animator, at least in my opinion, until, I mean, not, sorry, I shouldn't have said that. Like, didn't mean to make it so competitive, but I guess that's the industry. So we reached out. We got the budget to make the film from Fondazione Prada. It was like part of an exhibition. We reached out to some animation houses because Miriam also wanted a legit something.
We were just had up to start somewhere.
Right. Okay. So that was where we started. And they were all like, no way, not with this budget, not with this timeline. And thank God they said that, because this is how we got to John Michael and Jason. And we really, in retrospect, that was the needs of the film, because we would not be able to work in an environment where it's like, hand us the storyboard and we will make it. Like, we had to change it a lot, as Miriam was explaining, like the answer to the other question. So yeah, that's just like how we met. And they were very flexible, very, creative. And what we made is really, really, really just like the combination of all of us. It's not like the two lizards, but bigger. It's different. Yeah. So
To
that's
be
what happens.
to be fair, when they called me, I also said no, no.
Because he's a serious
'Cause it's
animation house.
no. I mean, we're not legit in that way, but no, it's insane.
It was
This movie is a miracle.
right.
But yeah, no, after I said no, well, I thought about it, and I was at a farm taking care of sheep at the time, and kind of had sort of said maybe never again because it is incredibly hard. But then I thought about it and I was like, well, maybe if Jason says yes, I would do it. And then I called him back and because to make a movie with other artists that want to make something that's its own thing that is made differently than anything else, that's a rare opportunity to make something that's actually special. So yeah, called back and said, let's make a fucking movie. And yeah, then here we are, like 7 near heart attacks later.
And the two of you had collaborated before on Culture Sport that Meriem was a fan of.
Huge fan.
Yeah.
Now I will actually answer your question. I'm a little OCD. Okay, yeah. So I was following Culture Sport for 10 years, and I was such a fan. And I guess like when we had collaborated on a really random, funny.
Yeah, like a Telfar.
A shelf, Telfar.
Yeah, we had done a Telfar campaign in 2016, Jason and I in Culture Sport, and then they launched a TV station, I guess, Telfar TV, and they had called us and been like, we want to do a remix of like Two Lizards because we had like a bunch of like Telfar, assets. And I was like, sure. And then I did it and it was hilarious. It was over the first episode of Two Lizards. And then we just talked and we're like, if we ever get a chance to work together, let's do it. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, basically everything's been covered. But basically, one day I got a phone call from John Michael, essentially being like, "Hey, we're talking about this movie. Let's." I hopped on a Zoom. I didn't know anything about Meriem or Orian, and then I always bring this up that there was like sort of like a pitch document with reference images and things, and I cued in on a picture of Justin Theroux from Mulholland Drive, the famous scene where he's looking back, and that was honestly, I was like, you know what? They got good taste already, very apparent. So
It was here. He was there just for glasses reference.
he was there just for
For a
glasses.
character.
Yes.
That didn't make it.
No, he's in there. There's a scene with the giraffe is drinking coffee very briefly in the coffee shop, and he's wearing the Mulholland Drive sunglasses.
He had a much bigger part in the first movie.
He used to be
than we
the radio
scratched.
owner when the radio was more important. So then we reused him as an extra.
A lot of things kept changing on this project.
I think for those who aren't familiar with animation production, it's a bit abstract to, what does it mean to be a cinematographer on that, and, who's animating, like what, so if you could kind of take us in a little deeper into, how it's made and who's doing what.
I can start with our part before it goes to you. So we start with the radio edit, meaning an edit of the audio. So we record dialogues and stuff. We also do a lot of improv, which is why it was also really handy to voice characters because we're just in the studio trying stuff out. And we edit them almost like you edit documentary. And then from that we make animatic, which is that, we place the cameras, like we make the whole film without the movement. And that allows us, it's like basically, you direct, but in 3D. So you place the cameras where the characters are. In the process, it makes you wonder, what does the room look like? What's the background look like? And it just goes to every department. I mean, not that we have departments, but it's just some of the people here who really made the movie happen and us just doing something else, And then once we have an animatic, and it goes to John Michael and Jason, and I'll let you.
Yeah, I mean, it was a lot of back and forth all the time. Again, animation, usually you would start with storyboards. Meriem would sort of, and Orian would be working in Blender and sort of blocking things out, and that would kind of serve as the storyboard and the animatic happening live. And then a lot of times there would be, you know, I'd have to come in and say, like, there's no way we can animate that, like, let's get in on a close-up, and, you know, John Michael sometimes same things, like, that's not the best angle to light from. So I feel like there was always, like, passing back and forth these files, and we would keep iterating them and figure out, you know, what can we do because of the limited resources. And so yeah, there was just always conversation, always input, which was one of the really special things to me about this film was I feel like whether it was set decoration or you know, just anything in the scene, we always sort of wanted to make sure that we all liked what we were looking at, you know. And I'm sure we all have a few things, you know, that we don't like here and there, and they're different among us all, but we really tried to reach a consensus where all four of us thought, like, damn, this looks pretty good.
But can you say like what you do before it goes to John Michael? Just
Oh, sure.
For people who don't understand.
Yeah, totally. So I mean, again, and then it's like, you know, I mean, every character starts out as like a cube, you know, and we build these characters. You add an armature to them. They're sort of like virtual dolls. It's very similar to stop motion. You know, there's a lot of posing and you know, working like puppetry. And so first things are sort of animated more as just like a basic clay. It doesn't look as cinematic and beautiful as it does in the final product. That's the wizardry of this man largely, so I'll let him talk about that part.
Yeah, it's just magic. No, you know, the first, let's say, 8 months of it, you know, Yanni and Meriem and Aila had been working on a script for 3 or 4 or 5, 6 months, something like that. But the first like 8 months of it was a lot of just, you know, pre-production is what we called it. Everything sort of blended in into one work mass kind of at the end of it. But we would make characters, and we would, Meriem made these great sketches of characters that Jason and I would, you know, Jason would start to model everything, and then he would pass it to me. I'd kind of smush the face a little bit. He would kind of go back and forth. I was trying to figure out how we were going to do hair, because that was insane and very expensive typically. And so we, you know, while we were doing this, Yanni and Meriem were working on the story. So we were just kind of letting the characters find themselves, and then I was doing render tests, lighting tests, look feel tests, trying to figure out what's a look that fits the, you know, this world that we're building, and, you know, also what's something that we can actually pull off with you know, the time and the money, which was for any kind of animated feature. Anytime anybody makes an animated feature, they're heroes. Like, it's so hard to do, but, you know, what we did with the size of team is actually insane. I mean, I think most of the 3D team is in here, right? Anthony, Alex, Soph,
Yes.
Sam. Is Alice here?
GP.
Yeah. Stand up, y'all, just for a second.
Yeah, stand up if you worked on the film.
Stand up. Yeah. Like, this is, it is actually insane that, you know, this is the amount of people that, you know, were able to pull this off. So, yeah.
Do you want to shout out some of the other collaborators who are here too?
Yeah, honestly, just because there's so many people, maybe they should just stand up and and then we can just say hi.
Is that awkward? I don't know.
Just because, like, I will forget someone, not because I'm
Okay.
not thoughtful, and just because there's so many people, and then I will feel not thoughtful. So, can you please stand up? The people who didn't.
You know
Yeah.
who
Oh,
you
Ears.
are.
Yeah. Jeez, Louise. Yeah. Whatever. Yeah. There we go. There we go. Yeah.
You really build it up like everyone is about to stand up, and only like 4 people did. It's like so many collaborators.
They did it in 2 parts. So,
Right.
yeah.
Okay. I mean,
Do you want to say more about the story process and how things evolved? And yeah, just, you kind of started to talk about it, but I don't know if Yanni wants to add.
yeah, I mean, it took a while until we pivoted into making it such a personal film. Like at the beginning, it was, you know, about the same themes, but just like, you know, we were writing different characters. And for for me, it was kind of like a challenge because I'm writing about a world, like a place that I'm not from, and I'm very, obviously I'm familiar with Meriem and her relationship with her mom, and I've been to Morocco before because we've been together for many years, but it was hard to sort of like make up, and a lot of things that I would write, she would say like, oh, but you made them speak like you, or like people wouldn't say that. So I was challenged by that, but it was fine. And Meriem, she was, I think it was intimidating to write a story that she felt like maybe would she would need to represent like a whole community. It was just like kind of like a heavy responsibility for her, and obviously that's not the case, but that's just how she felt. I think, right? Or
Yeah, I mean, when we were writing the film with you and Ayla, who's here,
right?
I'm really happy that she's here because she came from Casa and like she missed the other.
Casa is
premiere.
Casablanca.
Yeah, and so we were,
Just
she knows now. But we were, I think something that we were coming up against is that we had all these ideas we're excited to do, but we had a lot of fear about basically like how do you not make an annoying coming out queer Arab film, like just like all these hashtags that on festival websites we are under anyways. But
no, I mean it is the annoying
Yeah,
part. They don't
but
hashtag us as
we just-
annoying.
it
So
just felt
that's the
like-
part that we.
there's just like a there's a lot of fear of like because I at the end it ended up being just about my experience. It's not supposed to be about anyone else's.
Yeah.
It's not supposed to represent something or to be into that, but to find the way to do that.
Well,
is
let me
really-
say that.
Yeah,
Okay. So that's just about the Miriam's fear, and then we we were like, okay. So she initially made these conversations like she called her mom for research for what we were writing, just to be, to make it more round. And she played me the recordings, and she was like translating as we were going. And I'm looking at her, and we were like, okay, this is what we want in the film. And like even in the Two Lizards, it was a diaristic piece, it was a documentary or like a reaction to reality. So I guess we sort of like heard these recordings and we were like, wait, that's how we like to do things, and we like to use reality as a material. I wouldn't call this film a documentary, but it's definitely diaristic. And once we included these phone calls in the cut, and we decided that the character is Meriem and it's a personal film, we felt so free to be like, okay, so now we can actually make this story happen. And it's nuanced. Like every time that I was pushing for more drama or like more conflict, Meriem was telling me like, no, I don't, like it's okay that it's not like that, or like in traditional storytelling you build things around conflict, or that's how you move the story forward. And she was like, no, this is about a mother and a daughter who love each other, and I don't want to make it like, we don't need these big fight scenes. Like the biggest fight is they're fighting over her breaking the key. It's kind of like that's how it happens in real life, unless you're like very confrontational and then you talk about the actual thing. But some subtext, right? So it's like that. And I was like, wait, are we just like avoiding conflict, or is this actually delicate? Because I'm not always a very delicate person, or no, I am, whatever, this is not, but we're like, we really shaped it with this nuance, and I like that. When I was watching the film now, I remembered that we made the film over like two years, so I watched many movies, but I remember I was watching Midnight Cowboy, and I was like, oh wow, I really like, and I loved it. I was like, wow, so subtle. And I see it. I see it here. Like I was like, oh, I want to be settled like that. It's elegant. Yeah.
We don't have too much more time, but I do want to take at least, can we have one question? Okay, one question from the audience.
Oh my God.
Sorry.
Who is it gonna be? No one. It's a lot of pressure.
Oh, there's one down here. We're going to bring the mic to you. Oh, they're recording, so yeah.
They're recording?
I hope I speak for everybody. That was such a fucking fantastic film. So thank you.
Thank you.
On a whim, I saw this at the Toronto Film Festival, and I loved it so much that I looked you guys up, and I was like, oh my God, you're in the New York Film Festival. So I took my friends, and here we are. So it's great to see
Thank
this
you.
second time. So still blown away. Just a quick question, random question. Do the animals, the choice of the animals mean anything to you guys? Like why the coyote, why a giraffe, or things like that?
Do the choice of animals have meaning?
Yes.
The main one, well, at the time we're looking for a North African animal. We didn't do that for every, but there was like, I mean, we say she's a coyote, but really it's a jackal. And
That's the diaspora, aspect of it.
it's accurate. We liked something about her being kind of like soft-spoken but repressed, but she could fuck you up. Like like she has rage inside, and she's like containing it, but really like she can bite. And like, it was fun to play a bit with the sex scenes where maybe like she bites, like she's still like a bit repressed, but so we like this idea also of like, how sometimes you're like, what are we doing? Like as humans, like what are these like etiquettes or behaviors that we have? It's like so absurd sometimes, like when you do bureaucracy or anything, And I like this idea that any moment you're like, oh, these animals, like they could just go wild, but they're also behaved and have all these rules. And also, I'm gonna hand it to you because Jason is a biologist, ornithologist.
It's true. I studied wildlife biology in college. I don't. We're self-taught animators, all of us, but I love animals, and it was an honor to come in and get to work on all these characters. And I'll add, as an outsider perspective, that one thing I love about Miriam's art is she plays a lot with this tension, kind of like she's saying, of sort of cuteness, softness, as well as aggression and hardness. And I think Bouchra, there's this softness to the fur. You can. It's like a dog you want to pet in a way, and that was something early on. They really wanted a tactile quality of this film. But you'll also notice, her canines are always exposed. That threat is always sort of looming. So yeah, she loves playing with that tension. I think it's a really fun tension.
That's so fun.
Yeah, I agree. I'm glad. Killing it.
I'll say that my primary astrology animal is coyote, but I don't know if that is why. I didn't tell it until we started doing these Q&As. I don't know if you knew. Whatever. So there's that, and there's the show we love, Beastars. It's on Netflix, and the main character there is a wolf, Lagoshi, and he has the same sort of like tension of like he's so delicate, but he's wild, and we thought it would be cute for us.
Yeah, totally.
I mean, we can add one thing. I mean, which is like when you have reptiles, why?
Oh, I mean, Jason's got the theory with the reptiles.
Well, no, more
No,
about
like,
in the movie we.
I'm giving you ideas
Oh,
of stuff.
just something. Oh yeah, no, I mean, when we have reptiles, it's because hair is incredibly hard. So I was just like, anytime they would come back, and it would be like, now we're gonna have a family of sheep, which we only see like 2 of them. But I'd be like, can it be a reptile? Like, please. Like sometimes I was just like, oh, can we just do a lizard, please? Yeah.
I'm easy. I was like,
Yeah.
lizard? Sure.
No, it's cool, and it's also just as a side thing. One of the things that's interesting about working with 2 directors is you kind of get to, and their relationship with us is like, it was very close knit production. We were in the same room together for 2 years, and sometimes somebody would want to do something that like they know would scare somebody else. So you'd have to like go around, like if I wanted something to happen, I might go to Meriem versus Yanni, or they might come to me first and be like, how are we gonna not have Jason just explode, not explode, but like how can we make the blood clot not move like a half inch further up his neck? But yeah, lizard, yeah. Anytime lizards, throw them on. Yeah. Easy.
We're gonna have to end there, but thank you all so much.
Thank you for coming.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you for watching.